Is Clubhouse worth it for business? I know a lot of you guys look up, is this gonna be a viable platform? Should I be doing this? Here's the next new shiny object. I wanna tell you guys my take on this cool new platform, but really also my social media strategy in general. Let's dive in. All right, just right out of the bat, I just wanna say hey, congrats, you are looking up on ways to make more content. It is so hard for me to get people to make content. I don't know why. I mean, I know why, because it seems scary up front. However, the fact that you're like, how do I make content? And is Clubhouse a good thing? You're already past a huge group of people that is nervous to do it, and so you already have a foot up. So congrats. I, however, have published we were publishing on 17 platforms at the same time once. And we did it for about 2 years. It was a huge content production machine. It cost me 15 to 20 grand a month. I had tied together, I think, 5 agencies. And so I would record a video and we'd rip it and we'd pull a podcast episode and then we'd turn to a blog and then we'd take screenshots and then we would put it on Pinterest. And then it ended up being 17 platforms. It was very expensive. It was massively time. It worked. But I learned a lot along the way. I went through 4 podcast shows. Many of them rise to the tops of iTunes. 2 YouTube channels, 5 blogs. I mean, I had so much content that was out there. I after a while looked back. I don't know why it took me this long to do this. And I was like, what are the patterns? What are the lessons here? So under that context, I'm gonna tell you more about what I actually think about Clubhouse, when and if it's cool for you to use it. Now let's dive in. Now there are 2 schools of thought when it comes to creating content. Let's go through the first one. First of all, you have to understand that there is a huge difference between content and marketing. They are not the same thing at all. Okay, content is omnipresent. Content is, it's just, hey, I'm being in front of your face. Marketing pushes the ball closer to the sale. That's it. And so you have to understand that this is one of the reasons we were spending so much money on content, and it worked, but not nearly as effectively. And it's because we're just omnipresent, repurposing content for tons of platforms all over the place. Content is not the same thing as marketing. Similar to, think about it like, let's say you're going and you're making a post on Facebook and you're like, hey, here's what's going on in my life. That's just content, right? That's what I mean. You're not saying, let's have a call to action, let's push the ball forward, and let's go get people closer to the sale. Maybe we can progress the dream customer. And so you have to understand that my strong opinion is that this is it right here. Ask yourself this question. Is your dream customer even on Clubhouse? If they're not, why would you go there? Does that make sense? I'm gonna go through the second train of thought as the second piece here, but just as the first train of thought, there's kind of a divide in the way that we approach content. And I really adhere to the first one. And the first one says, go where your dream customer is. If your dream customer is, so hey, what's up? I'm on YouTube because my dream customer is, I hope that you come buy from me in the future. Cat's out of the bag, right? Dirty secret, because I know you're on YouTube, right? So because you're there, I went there. You'll find out that as you do this game longer and longer, this game is less about being this prolific genius. It's more about listening, putting your ear to the ground, and the market tells you what to do. The market said, oh my gosh, Steven, all of your dream buyers, they're on YouTube. I'm like, oh sweet, we should go to YouTube. A lot of you aren't on Clubhouse. I don't want to go there because you're not there. And so, should I be in Clubhouse? Well, you're going to ask that about every brand new platform that comes out. Steve, should I be on this one? Should I be on this one? Should I be this one? There are so many softwares and social media channels. You really think you're going to be an expert in every one of them? You got to say no. You got to say no, and say no to the ones where your customer is not. Now, the second train of thought when it comes to creating content is probably one of the cooler reasons to be on Clubhouse. All right, this is very Gary V-ish. This is very Russell Brunson-esque. And you'll find that it is literally their strategy that every single new platform that comes out, oh man, land grab, right? The platform wants users. So it's really easy to become a big influencer inside these brand new platforms. And so they reward heavy, hardcore users at the beginning who just marry the thing. And it's land grab, right? It's harder to do that with Clubhouse now. It's not as new. But when Snapchat came out, remember when Snapchat came out, or Periscope, you remember Periscope? All those platforms, as soon as they come out, the pattern of platforms is that it's new platform, needs all these users, so heavy users get rewarded on the algorithm, really, really heavy. Okay, you can become a somebody, you become an influencer very quickly on brand new platforms. You got to marry it. Okay, this is a hardcore consistency game, and you see that Gary Vee, that's like his whole model. New platform, hardcore, heavy usership. They're getting all these eyeballs. They're getting all these people that can follow them. And then what happens? Platform gets big enough, right? The platform gets big enough that it can go to big corporations and say, we'll sell you ad space. And then they start pooping on the little guy, right? And then it gets way harder for us little guys to get stature. So there's an advantage to jumping in it. So those are the two trains of thought. Neither is right or wrong. It depends what your intent is. And if you don't have a product, if you don't have a thing you're trying to sell yet and you're trying to figure that out, I would do the second one. I wouldn't do the second one. The second one is to be all about these brand new platforms that come out. A new one comes out every day. You gotta say no sometimes though. Very Gary Vee-ish to go out and do that. If you want to learn more about that type of strategy, go to secretsoftraffic.com. There's a great, it'll teach you more about exactly that, the cycle of platforms, okay? But if you are like, should I go on Clubhouse? I don't know that I would, if you're like not on it yet and your dream customer isn't, I wouldn't. It's not that I hate it, just you're not there, so I don't go. Before I dive into the last 2 points here, guys, which I know will really help you figure out more about Clubhouse, put in the comments down below your handle. If you're in Clubhouse, I'd love to be able to see where that is and we all follow each other. Also, please click the subscribe button, click the like button. I love publishing. Publishing is what taught me my voice. It's what taught me how to speak, taught me confidence. It was through publishing and podcasting, actually. So I love this game. And put down in the comments down below if you are also actively publishing. I want to send a little kudos back to you because it's hard. Congrats, you married the game. That is the hardest part of the internet marketing game. Real quick, I also want to bring up with Clubhouse, guys, your personality matters. Another point here, your personality matters. One of the reasons I started with podcasting is because I didn't have to be on video, right? I don't have to be on video. Russell Brunson and I, when I was working for him, we were both podcasting, no video, totally different energy, right? Totally different energy. And we were putting out content, and we suddenly, both at the same time, we were like, what if we went onto YouTube a little more? This is when I started YouTube years ago and I sucked at it, okay? And you can see those videos, man, like way back on my channel. I was not good, but whatever, I was swinging, right? It was mat time, it was bar time, right? Shortly after I started doing YouTube-esque videos for my podcast, and Russell was, we both got back together and we were like, dude, this is hard. This is so much harder than podcasting. And he was like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna go back to just normal podcast. And I was like, I don't know. I mean, maybe I can do this YouTube thing even more and try and figure out how to do this. And what was so much harder was I have to entertain your eyeballs, not just your ears, right? So I'm like, and I'm like energetic and crap, right? That's a different skill set. And I've had some people say like, Steve, I could never do that. My point is, then don't. There is room for your personality in this game. Don't force your personality to go and do something that is not natural because you're not going to stay with it long term. If I had started with video, I probably would not have continued. I started with podcasts because you guys didn't have to see me, right? No one had to see me. And I could hide behind my camera that was just turned off and I could read the podcast episode because that's what I was doing the first like 20 because I sucked. And that's okay. That's okay. So you have to understand that with any content platform, the name of the game is learning their algorithm, right? What is it that the platform wants to see? And the second is longevity. And so if something like Clubhouse freaks you out, because you're like, I don't know what to talk about, or you're like, I'm more natural on camera, there's room for that. So I want you to think real quick, and please write this down. Those of you guys who love writing, congrats, you just became bloggers. I'm just gonna choose for you. Those of you guys who love video, oh my gosh, that's so awesome. You're now YouTubers, right? And learn that game in that space. Those of you guys who love the podcast thing, I love podcasting so much. We've got 700 podcasts already under my belt, and then I've been on hundreds of other guest stuff. I love podcasting a lot. But congrats, you're now podcasters. And just do that. Don't try to do this massive 17 platform garbage I was doing. Stick with the platform, marry it, have the longevity with it, and learn its algorithm. And there's space for that in this game. All right, those of you guys who are here, I want you to know the final reason why I actually am not a fan of Clubhouse. Here it goes. Don't tell the CEO. There's no SEO. The moment that I think about this, I create content that has longevity. I'm gonna make a blog because I make it once and it's there past my death. This video will be here past my death, right? Podcast will be past my death. But every time I go, I don't want to choose content platforms. I call them billboard platforms. I don't want to create billboard platforms. Every time I post, think about this. If you post something on Facebook, it's been shown that only 15% of your following, your friends on Facebook, even see or get served up that thing, right? It's a billboard. I don't want to go get big on Instagram because in 24 hours, it's gone. I don't want to go on Clubhouse because I say the thing and literally it's gone. It feels like wasted time. That's the reason I hate it. I have so many downloads. Right? In fact, one of my first shows organically passed 1 million downloads way after I closed the show. And it's because it doesn't come down. And so what you start doing is if you treat it in like, that's one of the ways I make marketing versus content. The biggest show I have with Clubhouse, I'm not saying it's not a great platform. It's awesome. I get on there for interviews. I'm not going to go try and be big on Clubhouse because I stopped speaking and literally it's over. No one can go back. There's no archive. That sucks. I would rather say the same thing I said on a Clubhouse on a podcast and then it grows over time, right? I could do it on YouTube. It grows over time. And if you're really trying to create a sustainable company on the internet, right, your time matters so much. Do the things that will be around after you have died, right? Or have at least published. And that's one of the biggest issues I have with Clubhouse. So I hate Clubhouse. I'm not gonna do Clubhouse. I'm not any of these brand like Snapchat or 24-hour things or something where it's like, I treat them like a billboard. Of course I have them, but they're billboards. Hey, they're announcement places, right? They're little cork boards. I'm like, here you go. And then that's it. But I'm not trying to be big on them because I can't duplicate me on those platforms. But I can totally do it on what I call the staple platforms, which for me is blogging, it's podcasting, and definitely YouTube. Hey, there's a lot in this video. Don't click away. I got a cool thing that is free for you. If you want to see how I actually use content like a marketer and I don't waste my time on these other platforms that don't matter, go to internetlaunchsecrets.com. I am all about how can I create something that removes me, right? That removes, I got a life, right? I'm not trying to stay in front of the camera 24/7. So I'm doing this instead of a Clubhouse with you, right? That's why I'm doing this. So go to internetlaunchsecrets.com. The link is in the description and is in the first comment. And it'll teach you more about how I actually create strategic content that will drop in front of my dream customer and remove me because it can stay there over time. Okay, the link is in the description.